Vegas.
What's going on, y'all? You're back. I want to thank you if you're tuning in. I'm your host, Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media. We have my guest, Harold Smith, on the line, who was streaming the event over in Arizona, if you're just tuning in, doing the Arizona convention. Okay, so just to catch up everything, you got there early. You're there now. You pop out the camera, and you got Romney bots screaming on you. Do I got that right?
Yes, it was actually a GOP official.
Okay.
I've got her name written down somewhere, but I mean, I would assume that she's a Romney supporter. But I mean, it was definitely someone with an actual GOP tag and had some sort of power over the party proceedings and everything. But we were lucky enough that at that point they did not have any posted rules against videotaping or streaming. Now, they're well within their rights to do that. And because they didn't anticipate this for some reason, I was able to get away with this, quote unquote, get away with it. But, in this case, moving forward, this might be an issue for other, alternative media people out there, which is, real quick, I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do this. I want to thank you. I mean, this is something where, and I know your listeners probably know this, but, Ron Paul's most important message is changing government by becoming government. And that applies to media, too. I know that your listeners and me personally are very sick of the bias that I see in the mainstream media. And there's really not a lot that we can do about that because you don't see accountability happening with that. So get out there and become the media. I mean, it's not easy, but it's fun, and you learn as you go.
Well, I definitely appreciate that. You're right, though. We got to become the media. We got to take over the local parties. We can't just sit back and complain. We got to go to these conventions like you're going. We got to film it. We got to do shows like this, and we got to get that message out there because, like you know and like others know, we're going against a big machine, a very, very big machine. And you hear it in these people when you hear these sheep talk out there. You can hear the news coming, through their mouth, basically. But okay, so so you're there. You got the camera out now. So at this point, I'm pretty sure everybody's getting ready for it to start. You guys, what's the first things that we're trying to get done?
Well, organization for sure. That was the main focus. Like I spoke about earlier, getting everyone's phone numbers so we knew how to stay in touch with each other and to do any changes in the actual delegate voting process. But from there, it was just totally unorganized and about as boring as it could possibly be. I mean, it started late. This is almost a carbon copy of what happened in Oklahoma that I heard your guest yesterday talk about. Started late. We had all these speakers that were just, in this case, that's a whole other story, but I mean, they were just blathering on stage and everything got pushed back a couple hours from the get-go. Now, that got worse as it went along, and we had issues with ballots. We had issues with, the individual congressional districts, which was another thing. I don't know why they would do something like this, but our redistricting in Arizona took place at the convention. So I walked in there being in Legislative District 8 and then was put into the group of Congressional District 6. And then from then on, I'm now in Legislative District 23. And that certainly did not help anything and was a cause of a lot of confusion.
Well, that's the purpose of it. Even if it's not I don't know what they're trying to do out of that. At the very least, they want to cause confusion. They want to cause stress, and they want us to get out of the way, basically. But I'm sorry, continue.
Just what you said. I mean, I have a hard time insinuating tension to know that it seems there's no less than that.
Okay, hold on. You're not coming in for a second. Is it where you're at or your reception or something? Try to speak again.
I'm sorry. I pace when I talk, so I'll try and stay in one place.
Okay, you're good now.
It's most likely what you said. I mean, to intentionally cause confusion. I just try not to claim intentions of someone else unless I know for sure. But if I had to be a betting man, I would say that's what was going on for sure.
Okay, so at this point, what time in the day are we at now?
We're about 10 o'clock at this point when, maybe 9:30 as the speakers start. And one of the things that I'm sure a lot of your listeners saw was the only article that came out in the mainstream media about the Arizona convention was that all us crazy Ron Paul supporters were disrespectful and ended up booing Romney's son off the stage. And I mean, man, I'd love to get a chance to, just do a couple minutes, to clarify what happened there. First of all, there was booing going on, and the media really characterized that and exaggerated what happened. I mean, the booing that they're specifically talking about took place during the last, couple minutes of, Romney's son's speech, and it was specifically revolving around when he broke the rules. He held up one of the Romney slates, a big green piece of paper, and actually specifically endorsed the candidates for delegates in Arizona that were endorsed by Romney.
Okay, hold on, because you were going out a little bit. So you said that he's giving a speech, and he at the end of his speech, he broke the rules by holding up the green slate with the names of the candidates that Romney endorsed. So I got that right?
Yes, sir. And that's, as a delegate, we were all handed a piece of paper with the rules for the convention. And specifically when they talk about endorsements, it's one thing for a speaker to endorse a candidate. Obviously, Romney's son is going to endorse Romney. And no one likes that on the Ron Paul side, but it's allowed. What's not allowed was to specifically endorse any candidates for delegates. And that's the recognition of the Romney-approved delegate slate and told everyone to vote for those because it's all about party unity and it's the only way to beat Obama, and I'm sure you've heard that rhetoric before. Mm-hmm. But that's when people got really upset. I mean, don't get me wrong, they didn't like anything that Romney's son said, but that's where things started to get out of hand. And, like I said earlier in here, it's really important that we all learn from our mistakes, and our mistakes were to just yell. Now, there were some people that actually did hold their hands up and say point of order, but they were not called upon by the chair. Now, their excuse is that no one could hear people saying point of order because everyone was booing. And that's a legitimate excuse. And so it's something that we need to learn that, following Robert's Rules of Order in the case of these conventions is going to be, tantamount to our strategy.
Now, the problem is, though,
instead of booing,
the one thing that isn't an excuse, and I do agree with you, we should have did it the right way, but they know he was cheating, and they know he did that. It's almost to a point where we shouldn't have to call a point in order. The chairman should have called that out and pointed that out, but, they're all in cahoot. They probably knew that was going to happen. But, yeah, we need to make sure that we're acting, you said raise your hand and call a point of order as opposed to booing.
Absolutely, and you're totally right. It's inexcusable, but it's one of those things that we all know that they're going to do this. They're going to play dirty, and we have to be prepared for that. And, booing, while understandable, it didn't get us anything. And I was booing too. I'm not saying that, that any of us, were perfect, but, we actually got text messages from, our group saying, hey, guys, stop flipping out. We need to remain calm. And it's really hard to do that. It's really hard to do that, but, sometimes it's the hard things that are the most important. And so that was just one piece where I say, moving forward to any of your listeners who are delegates in other states,
okay, hold your thought right there. Hold your thought there, then we're about to go to another break, and we'll be back. This is Paco. You're listening to Occupy the Media. We'll be back after the break.
America is in trouble.
Washington is a disgrace.
Government has become too big. It's overtaxing, overspending. We need to change direction.
We really need change.
We can't afford to make the same mistakes we've made in the past.
Mitt Romney's reputation as a flip-flopper.
He went the other way when he got paid to go the other way.
There is need for economic stimulus.
It's about serial hypocrisy.
This election